Mr. Bolaji Onilinla joins us now. He's a legal practitioner and also counsel to Mountain of Fire and Ministries. Morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen that report, though, but of course, indeed, there may be one or two things that might have been left out owing to the time allocated to that report. Give us a background to all of this. How did this all start, getting to this demolition?
Yeah. The situation we have on our hands is what we can best describe as executive lawlessness.
Not that you flouted the law, as they say.
No. We have not flouted any law. This is the land over which we've been in occupation for about 15 years. This is the land over which we have a certificate of occupancy. This is the land over which we built with series of approvals from the government. This is the land that we have been occupying for all this time and nobody's complaining. But the problem started about a year ago when the government came and they started complaining that we are encroaching on the waterway of a river Asata. We made them to appreciate that that is not correct. They themselves also brought in experts who produced reports to the effect that we were not constituting any nuisance at all. And as a matter of fact, rather than recommending demolition, the expert recommended that some corrective measures be taken.
Did they make that report public? The experts, did they submit it to the government and government made it public?
The government did not make it public, but we were part of it. And we have a copy of it.
You were part of that committee?
No, we are part of the committee. What we mean is that we have knowledge of what they were doing because the experts came on inspection. They came on inspection and we were part of what they were doing, and they reported back and gave us a clean bill of health. They did not condemn us at all.
But in that report, you heard the commissioner say that the church knew that it was going to come to that demolition. So one can assume by what he said that it was clear on both parties that the building needed to go.
No. Nobody could have anticipated that demolition would be the right approach by the government. Look at it this way. We have series of approvals. The first one was the initial one when the church started. When the church expanded a bit, the second approval was sought and obtained.
When?
The first one was in 1998, the second was in 2002. So when the church further expanded, it became necessary to remodel. And they sought for further approval, paid the requisite fees, and the approval was granted.
So the last approval you got was in 2002?
No, that was the second one.
Okay.
The second approval we got was about this year.
So you actually got another approval to further expand?
Yes.
This year?
Yes.
So what was the final reason the government gave for demolishing a structure?
The reason that they gave was that we are encroaching on the River Asata.
In fact, they also said that it was illegal and unapproved as an application for approval was considered and rejected in March 2012. That's a direct quote, actually.
Well, the point is that we have here the document bearing all the fees that we paid, bearing the approval of the government. But you see, after they had given this approval to justify themselves, they apparently went back and claimed that they were not satisfied with their own approval, with their own acts. We have the papers there.
Well, you just said you got the last approval this year, sometime this year.
We got the last approval. No, not this year. Not this year. It was about last year as well.
In 2012.
In 2012.
Yeah, sorry, Chamberlain, I was going to ask this question.
So it's about 2012.
Did the Enugu government single out your church building in this demolition?
It will appear as if we were singled out. Because if you look at the location of our church, apart from the fact that the experts that built the church complied with the town planning law, and we ensured that we were not violating any town planning law. Apart from the fact that we left sufficient setback between our building and the Asata River, most of our neighbors are even encroaching right on the Asata River. They have some of their buildings right on Asata River.
Have they been demolished?
And the state is not complaining.
Just a moment. Would you kindly tell us, what that area is like? Is it a residential area? Is it a business district? Where is your church located?
I think it is a mixed development area. It's a mixed development area.
So you have residential houses?
Yes.
You have business concerns?
Yes.
The reason I ask this is I want to know if you've had neighbors who have complained, possibly about church activities. Maybe people who cannot park, or people who say maybe noise from the church is disturbing them and all of that. Have you received complaints like that before?
Our neighbors are friendly with us. Nobody has lodged any complaints. No one has complained at all. I have a feeling that,
at least to your hearing,
to our best knowledge, nobody has complained to us. Nobody has complained to us. Even the state has not complained for almost 15 years that we've been in existence there.
Okay.
Part of the reason why they said they rejected your application for approval in 2012 is, again I quote, overbuilding of the property with more than 100% built upon encroaching into stream and road reserves, construction outside the purpose of the property as the area was designated for commercial development and not for institutional use.
This is another lie, because just as I said, experts were constituted to look into the matter, and they came up with a clean bill of health. Not only that, they recommended certain corrective measures. They did not recommend demolition. That is number one. Number two,
certain
I told you there are three.
Did you talk about certain corrective measures?
Yes.
What are they correcting?
Oh, they say a wall should be built. They say a wall should be built.
Should be built.
These are images of the church, isn't it?
Yes. They recommend that a wall be built away from Asata River.
Okay.
So what we are saying here is that there was no basis for the decision that they took. Nobody was expecting that demolition was going to be their response.
But where this building is located, I mean, there's a bridge there. Look at that bridge there.
Yes.
That, and there's a river there.
There's a bridge across. In fact, the government is building a bridge across Asata River.
So how do you say this does not in any way obstruct the river or will ultimately
As you can
affect
see,
the bridge?
we are not on the path of the river. The church is not on the path of the river. They are not even complaining about the bridge. No, that is not their complaint anyway. They are not saying that we are infringing on their work on the bridge.
But we understand that several notices have been given to the church.
No, they only gave one notice.
When?
And that was the one they gave on the 8th of October.
What was
this
it
year.
about?
Oh, contravention notice.
Contravention?
Contravention notice. And the notice that ought to have been given for 60 days, they gave only 3 days. As a matter of fact, it was 7, which they changed with a marker. So 3 days. Unless you want to talk about a verbal notice, because the governor once visited the place. When he came to see the progress being made on River Asata Bridge, he came and he complained.
About what?
He complained that the church was encroaching upon River Asata.
And the government said they gave your church 1 year for you to relocate.
Relocation cannot be an answer to an encroachment. This is what I am saying. Look, we had the first approval. We had the second approval. If there was going to be any problem at all, it was with the second approval. So if the government just wanted to be fair, the worst they could have done was to remove that third segment of the approval, so that the thing does not further go by the way of Asata River.
So the third
and not
segment
to descend on the entire structure.
Okay, so the third segment was actually going to obstruct or towards Asata River.
No, I'm saying that is the worst that could have happened, because the first one should not have been an issue. The second one should not have been an issue. It is the third one
You're talking
that
about
was
the
meant to
approvals now.
expand.
The approval now. You're talking about the approval.
No, not the approval. What I'm saying is that the first approval was given for the first one.
That's what I meant.
For the second one, now it was when the third one was being implemented that they complained. So if the government just wanted to be fair to itself, the only subject of complaint should have been that third segment.
So if they had,
and they should not have descended.
if they had gone for the third segment, MFM would have had no.
We would have had no
problems.
complaints. We would have had no complaint. Our loss would have been, well, we would have had no complaint. One, we would have retained our structure, and we could still have managed. At the very worst, they will ask us to move from where we were, maybe a bit inside.